Sometimes the past is like a magic mirror. You look into it, and you travel into times before you. Other times, it becomes a tool that helps you understand the present. And to some, it lights the path toward the future. Here at Efik Stories, we travel through time, through Efik eyes, in tales of recorded history, oral traditions, and ancient myths, to remind us how far we have come and to make us wonder where we should be going. Here is another Efik story. In 1767, the Cross River was a high-stakes chessboard where the currency was power and the price was blood. Two rival superpowers, Old Town and Duke Town, were locked in a cold war for the river's soul. Old Town was winning. They were the chosen ones for the British traders from Bristol, holding a monopoly that made Duke Town's elites see red. Desperate to flip the script, Duke Town didn't just plan a war. They planned a political assassination. They cut a backroom deal with 6 British captains. Help us erase our rivals, and the river is yours. The British weren't the masterminds. They were the hired muscle, acting as decoys to lure the Old Town royals into a death trap. Among those lured aboard the ship, 2 brothers Ancona and little Ephraim. These weren't victims. They were polished Efik elites. They walked onto that deck expecting a high-level diplomatic summit. Instead, they walked into a bloodbath. A signal gun roared. The riverbanks erupted. Over 300 men were slaughtered in the water as Duketown warriors and British sailors turned the river red. The brothers were tackled, shackled, and thrown into the hold. They hadn't just been kidnapped, they had been erased. But the brothers refused to disappear. For the next 5 years, they became a nightmare for the slave system. Shipped to Virginia, they escaped. Recaptured and sold to Barbados, they escaped again. They were hunted, caught, and sold from master to master, but they never stopped fighting. They didn't just use their fists, they used their minds. At every stop, shout a dangerous truth. Our enslavement is a violation of international law. They weren't just fleeing slavery. They were a sovereign diplomatic mission in chains, demanding their rights as royals of a recognized trading state. Eventually, they fought their way to England. In 1773, they stood before the Court of King's Bench in Bristol. This wasn't a plea for mercy. It was a legal showdown between 2 slave trading states. The British court was forced to admit a shocking reality. Old Calabar was a sovereign nation. Because the brothers had been taken through a despicable abuse of faith that violated trade treaties, Britain had no legal right to hold them. The court didn't free them out of kindness. They freed them because they recognized their sovereignty. This story shatters the myth of a helpless pre-colonial Africa. It reveals a world of literate kings, global politics, and elite power moves. Ancona and little Ephraim finally returned home, but the damage was done. By using British guns to win a local grudge, the Efik elites had handed the keys of the river to Europe, the betrayal that broke Old Town. A century later would lead to the total colonization of the region. And this is another interesting Efik story.